on my shoulders. So anyway,
what is going on, movie meals? We are here
so
for our
far
spoiler review of Black Panther.
I wanted a pillow too.
yeah, I felt so far away from the camera. I almost said
Spoiler review, Black Panther. Guys, spoiler review. We're talking everything about this movie. So guys, we're talking positives, negatives, all of it. What did you think of the movie? We decided to wait the long weekend. We wanted to process, talk. We've talked to friends who have had interesting issues for negatives in the movie, friends who have had interesting positives. I've had some interesting conversations with people, so I'm excited to talk about this spoiler-free, or
Good.
all spoilers, and whatever.
Yeah.
Kyle, we'll start with you, though. Talk about anything you want. I don't even care. We're talking the movie. Talk.
Oh man,
Great point. So now... Just kidding.
Where do we even begin on this? As I said in our...
The start?
Sure, at the start of the movie. I liked how it wrapped people up at the beginning. It wraps people up about what happened back in Civil War, because this movie, I believe, takes place right after the events of Civil War.
Oh yeah, pretty dang quick.
Yeah, so it reminds you, hey, Black Panther was in this Civil War movie. You guys should check this out. That would be awesome. But we have this Black Panther movie that you're about to watch now, so I hope you like it. So I really like that it took care of all that business dealing with Black Panther and Civil War, and with what happened in Civil War was basically that his father got assassinated. His father got killed.
This is a spoiler review for Black Panther, not for
I'm just getting,
Civil War.
It brings into the story.
I know, and they show the scene in Civil War in this one, so...
Anyway, so he gets assassinated, so now T'Challa has to be the one to step into the role as king, but now he's not quite sure how he can be a good king. He's trying to take advice from from his sister, from his son. I hope you are. From his mother, from his love interest, played by Lupita Nyong'o, who is wonderful in this movie as well. So it kind of just gets this beginning of showing us how the character is feeling in the moment of how they're supposed to become king, but he's not quite sure how, and how he has all these great characters that are starting off for him.
That's for your
and then
first
popcorn. It's a popcorn game. Yeah.
The first thing I want to talk about, well, you brought up all these characters. Let's talk about these dang characters, man. Like, I love these characters. The two that really stood out to me, honestly, was Denai Guerrero's character. I don't remember any of the characters' names outside of Killmonger and
I'm bad with character
T'Challa.
names.
Like, that's all I remember.
Yeah.
But Denai Guerrero from The Walking Dead, the great, awesome bodyguard, and then her boo bear, played by Daniel Kaluuya. How do you say his name?
Daniel Kaluuya.
Kaluuya?
Yeah.
Oscar nominated. Heck yes. I loved it, and these two, you get more of her and less of him, but still you feel for them, and even in the big battle at the end, I'm like, so when's this moment gonna come up where they're like, they have this like interesting moment, and when it finally happens, he's like, would you kill me, my love? And she's like, for Wakanda? Yes. And it shows that she understands how much more, like, the whole reason, like, Killmonger's doing what he's doing, and that Daniel's character jumps in on it, is because they want personal vengeance. They want others to suffer. Whereas Lupita Nyong'o, or Denai Guerrero's character, she and Lupita Nyong'o's, they want to do what's best for their people. So it's a real big battle of, the few versus the many kind of philosophy. And I loved their connection when she's like, I will take you out for Wakanda. It chills. I loved it so much.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because that was an example of my negative from our non-spoiler
Yeah, but you're not
review.
smart.
Well, it's fair, but the people want my thoughts, Alex. I have to give it to them. I imagine they do.
They do. I do as well. No, see, but that's what I loved, where it maybe didn't work as much for you. I enjoyed it because I was getting a little bit of that flavor from these characters without needing... Like, I didn't need more. Everybody's like, I needed more. Why didn't we have an extra 30 minutes for this movie so we could watch, these two have a love scene? I don't care. They did it in such a way. This is what I love. Ryan Coogler, in such a way, made you care immediately. Like, the second one, he's like, I never freeze. And then he falls, and she's like, you froze. Like, it's so relatable, dialogue and execution and directing and writing, that you're in on it. You're like, I've been there, like, whether you're a man or a woman or any race, like, you're like, no, I've been there. I've frozen. And like, you instantly connect to the characters, and that immediately makes their relationship better. You don't need a 15-minute scene with these characters to learn more about them.
True.
Because in just the moments they have, like his sister, you're in right away. You're like, she's basically us. She's like, screw all this tradition. Let's get out of here. Where, a lot of people have that thoughts, but then you understand how, and she learns throughout the movie, it's important for tradition, and that family is important, and that you can evolve, but you can't forget. Mm-hmm. And that's something I love with these characters.
Yeah.
So, where else do you want to talk?
Since we got to that scene, I believe the next scene after that was when they start to realize that Claw is out trying to get some of the vibranium, and so they decide to capture him down in, was it Korea?
Yeah, they were in South Korea.
Yeah, they were in South
in
Korea.
An awesome chase scene.
Exactly.
Full of funny action. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on.
We get introduced to, I forget the Ross's name. Agent Ross's name, yes. Well, I mean, the actor's name.
Agent Ross?
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. Well,
no,
the guy from Sherlock, why am I spacing on
his
name? The Hobbit guy.
I can't remember his name either.
Martin Lawrence? No, that's not right. That's
Martin is wrong. Right, though.
Yeah.
Martin is right.
Sherlock's Watson, I can't remember his name. Watson is in this movie, and
sure.
I like that he got his introduction finally, because in Civil War, when he gets his little moment, it's kind of just like, oh, he's there, okay, see you later. But in this, I like that he actually has chemistry with the rest of this cast, that he's pretty much us in this
What's
role,
gonna
just
kill me looking for his
being
name?
Introduced into Wakanda, into this entire world. So I like that he was able to introduce, so that way he was almost like our eyes into this new world that we're exploring in the Marvel Universe. But you're absolutely right. We also get great introductions to Claw as well in that scene. The chase scene in that is so memorable and so great to watch. Actually, the action scene in the casino before the chase scene is something that
so
I
all the action scenes are great.
Well. Yeah, very true. So I don't know, like I just was loving that Coogler was able to keep directing action and intense moments so well, because we saw that in Creed. We saw that he was able to pull that off in Creed.
The way he does action is just insane.
Yeah.
So I'll take it from the action to something I want to talk about, sticking with some of these characters. I want to talk about the story and these two, our hero and our antagonist. Mm-hmm. So I made the decision. I've thought about it long and hard. Killmonger is my favorite MCU villain.
Oh, you decreed
it. He is
it.
better than Loki.
Oh, all
right. He is better than Loki. I also I would put Claw in the top 5 for the little you get him. He is fun. He's energetic. He's evil. He's harsh. Mm-hmm. And Andy Serkis does an incredible job. But I would put Killmonger number 1, and here's why. So the way this story is crafted, this story is beautiful. It's like watching a professional, beautiful, like, ballet dancer. Like you're astounded by how, like, difficult, like, you couldn't do it, but it's somehow, like, majestic, and it just weaves together so well. Okay. That's my analogy I'm going with.
Go for it, man.
I love it because he goes after Claw for one reason, because it was his father's greatest mistake, and he is trying to catch his father. And
it was T'Challa's father.
T'Challa's father. Yeah. Okay. And so even those scenes where he gets buried and then he comes out and gets to speak, where both of them get to speak to their dads, is
when they
so
get
powerful.
To do the ritual to become king.
It is so powerful. It is so relatable. Yeah. Just to anyone who's had a bond with a parent. It doesn't have to be father and son. It can be a mother and a daughter too. But especially father and son. It hits that relationship level. And he's like, how am I supposed to be a good king like you were? And then he goes after Claw to try to help his father's legacy, and when he kind of finds out, no, his father messed up with this kid that happened to be intertwined with all this, and this kid shows up out of nowhere. He's incredibly powerful and strong, beating him. Like those scenes of the waterfall and those fights for the throne, battle scenes are amazing.
Outmatching T'Challa in the waterfall.
He beat him. I was talking this with a buddy of mine. He only won the end because of one good move. And they both knew it. Yeah. At the end, he even says, he's like, good move. And he's got a knife in his chest because he knows you just outsmarted me in that one moment that mattered. Yeah. You beat me when it mattered. Yeah. And I love that. They were evenly matched.
Spoilers.
So this story weaves a character with Killmonger, with Michael B. Jordan, and he's such a great actor where you're like, okay, you're into him at first when he shows up with Andy Serkis, when you learn his backstory, and you see this guy trying to fix his father's mistake. Mm-hmm. He wants to be with Wakanda. His T'Challa's dad kills his dad
Yeah.
and leaves this boy who's a Wakandan. He is part of this family.
Yes.
And they leave him. They leave him. And he wants to be there. He wants to return home to Africa.
Want to be a part of it all.
And that is why he hits well for me, because it's a great origin story of a villain. Like, Loki is great. I love Loki. Loki's got many movies. I fell in love, felt pain, and missed Michael B. Jordan in one movie. In one movie. I instantly was like, oh, this guy's fantastic. He is powerful. How are we going to beat this guy? And then all of a sudden you start learning more and you feel sad. You connect and you're like, man, that's hard. Like, that's a tough life. Like, I don't blame him for going down this path of revenge. And then when he dies, you're like, I want to see more of him. I would love to see him be like, I'm a good guy again, or something. Like, you would love it, but you don't get it. But yeah, that's where I'll bounce it, popcorn it to you. But I love how this story with T'Challa too, where even that scene with his dad, where he's like, "You made a mistake. You should have taken him, and now I have to fix it." And earlier in the movie, he was trying to fix his father's mistake, and now he has to fix an even bigger mistake for the entire world.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Boom!
There's pretty much parallel stories for T'Challa as well as Killmonger, where it's pretty much the after effects of the sin of the father. You know, it's kind of like that vibe to it. Not only did T'Challa look up to his father as like this respectable king, and everyone appreciated him, and he never misstepped and made a mistake. But it turns out after his passing, he finds out all this stuff that he wasn't perfect. He did make mistakes, and T'Challa didn't want to make mistakes. But it looks like even though he's gonna have to at some point, he has to at least do better and go over these mistakes and fix them better than what his dad did. And as well with Killmonger, it was so much that he had the same kind of ideas that he thought that his father should have, where his father kind of had the right idea at some point, where he was like, we should take our technology that we're keeping hidden and help the world, but Wakanda still have the old ways of trying to stay to themselves and keep away from all the dangers out in the outside world. And Killmonger did want to do that still, but he wanted to take it to another level where he was ruling everything. And normally with something like that, you kind of take away from the villain. You're like, that's kind of cliche. But with all these layers that Ryan Coogler introduced into Killmonger, it made you go from not just being a cliched villain, but to one of the best. I totally appreciated that.
So I'm gonna tell my little story.
Yeah.
I want to share it with the viewers.
Okay.
So I, at my job, can luckily be able to speak to, I can have good conversations with people. And I had a couple guys come in. There were 4 guys who came in,
Right.
all black.
Okay.
And I just overheard them. No one else was in my store. I was doing some work and overheard them talking about how they went to the same showtime we went to on Thursday, the opening night.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, you guys went and saw Black Panther? And they're like, yeah, man. And they were, these were they were from the college we go to. They were all on the football team, because you could tell by how they were talking. Some of the
They
things
were bigger
saying.
than us. I get it. Yeah.
Well, they were also just ripped, but no, they first talked a little bit about MSU.
Yeah.
They talked about stuff. They talked about being on the football team, and then
Cool.
they transitioned in the movie. And I started talking to them because I work in a sports shop, guys. So that's why I was talking to them. But that's why they brought up football.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I asked him. We get into this conversation, and finally I go, all right. I was like, so I'm a white guy, so. How does this movie... I was like, I can't understand this movie and what it means, but I'm a huge movie lover. So, like, as black guys, like, how did this work for you? Like, a big budget superhero movie like this with all this. And they were ecstatic about it. And they loved just to be asked that question.
Oh.
They were like, this is so cool. And they started saying things like how the ending really hit home for them. They actually brought up specifically a line that one of our friends doesn't like, and it's the end line about where he's like, "Let me be with my ancestors who jumped off slave ships." And one of the guys brought that line specifically up, and he was like, that's how a lot of us think. We were like, as a race, we were hurting and forced from places and all this pain and suffering for so long by people that just made us do it. He's like, just, in a big superhero movie where we've seen, and these guys, this is literally how they were talking. They're like, seeing like Captain America and Iron Man, like, they're cool, but this is a movie showing our side of it. Like, he's like, you guys, as in like us white guys,
Really?
he's like, you got Captain America, cool, but now we've got a badass. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. And they kept talking. They're like, not only to see, he's like, honestly, the women alone represent black women. He's like, that's my girl. Like, that's how they act. They're strong. They're ready to fight you. Like, they're out there. And he's like, he even said, he goes, the director, he didn't even know who the director was. These weren't big movie fans.
Yeah.
But he goes, whoever made that movie, like, that had to be, it had to be a black guy. And I was like, it was Ryan Coogler. And I told him a little about it. And they're like, that's the dude that made Creed? And they knew of Creed. And they're like, that's incredible. And it was a really cool, time to just talk with these guys and see how it hit for these guys differently than it can hit for some of us. And that's true for a lot of movies. There are movies that you're going to relate to differently. And this specific movie, and one of them even said this as well, where they're like, this movie relates to everyone. He goes, you can be white, you can be Asian, you can be black, you can be, it doesn't matter. It relates to everyone, but it relates a little bit more for us. Like, they even talked about the jokes. How some of the jokes we laughed at, which we just thought were funny, but he goes, we talk like that about, like white guys, like he specifically said the colonizer joke to Agent Ross when he's like, hey, when she's like, hey, colonizer, like something like that, you know, like you could feel the energy was a little bit different in those jokes for the white people in our room in our theater. So it was such an interesting time to just sit and like really talk to a couple of people who aren't big moviegoers like we are, who we see every movie every weekend, but they go to a couple movies a year, and they specifically went out to see this opening night, and it like hit home for them to see. And they even talked about the villain and the hero. They're like, Black Panther as well as Killmonger, like we could relate to both of them as being guys who were, one of them was like, I wasn't raised in Compton, but I was raised in an environment like that. So I understood. He's like, you could hear the gunshots and stuff. So even those little lines, they hit harder for us. They hit harder, and it was one of the most incredible conversations I've ever had in my life. Like it was, it was really like interesting. It went more than just this movie, and that's what makes this movie so great. Is it's more than just a movie. It's a lot like Wonder Woman. It is changing the game of not only just cinema, but big budget cinema. So I just wanted to tell that story, so we'll go back to you.
Well, it clearly shows that there's an impact for this. I mean, just as an example, we have what we're on Monday now, and back in Sunday, like it was announced that this movie made over $200 million domestically.
They actually, so today it came out like 218 or something, and that report was false. And when they counted it was 4.7% higher, and it made like 120 something $120 million. Yeah.
Really?
Like it bumped up over $220 million worldwide.
I mean,
it was either like 224 or like 8, somewhere in between there, I think.
I mean, this is a longer weekend, so it's able to make more money for a weekend.
Well, that's strategic marketing.
Exactly, but even still, though, for the fact that it still made over $200 million, it's not like an Avengers team up type thing. It's not like that at all. This is a standalone superhero movie.
It's bigger than just a standalone.
Right,
you bring in characters like Ross or something, and it's a black. It reminds me of Civil War. Civil War is Captain America's movie.
Yeah,
it's a Captain America movie, and even Winter Soldier has other characters. It's a Captain America movie.
Right.
And I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to follow this feel. Like, there's going to be teases to some other characters. I think we might even see a couple of them.
Yeah,
like we did Falcon in the first Ant-Man, but it's going to flow so well and feel like just a Ant-Man movie, and that's where Black Panther killed it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about in your spoilers?
Any scenes that really stood out to you at all?
I mean, we talked about all the fights are just incredible. I loved the characters. The sister, Lupita Nyong'o's character, Dania Guerrera.
The sister killed it with the jokes. Normally, I've gotten tired of some of the. Sorry to interrupt, but
I was talking about the jokes. That's what my look was for. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes like in intense moments, they'll be like yuck yuck chuckle chuckle.
Looking at you, Guardians 2,
and you're
little
just
over the top with the jokes.
All right, that's not really working. But for this, the intensity was still there from beginning to end, and even with her jokes were the best of the movie for sure.
It was like Avengers level jokes or Civil
it
War.
Really,
like
it actually hit while at the same time there was still intense moments that were happening, and I really appreciate that.
And we're gonna need those laughs because when Thanos shows up, we're all screwed, and we're gonna be like, "Where's the jokes?" Like tears are flowing. Thanos is like holding Spider-Man by the neck, Iron Man's dead. Captain America's got like missing an arm, bleeding, and we're like, remember when like the Guardians were funny?
There has to be a pun somewhere.
There
has to be a pun. So, anyway, any memorable scene of yours?
I'm not gonna say memorable scene, but I'm actually really glad Black Panther got introduced the way he did in Civil War.
Yeah,
because
me too.
he and Spider-Man were the standouts that whole movie. Like
Yeah.
when you left, you thought of the airport scene as a whole, but that airport scene full of Black
Still
Panther and
one of my
Spider-Man.
favorites. Yeah.
But then when you leave, you think about Spider-Man and Black Panther and how you
Yep.
can't wait for those movies. But this movie's villain is so good, it can take away from a little bit from Chadwick Boseman and
Yeah,
T'Challa. Like,
it's possible.
and it's not that he didn't do great; he did fantastic. That scene with his dad gives you chills. You've been there before. I can't stress that enough. Like we've been there.
Yeah.
And it, like when he's got tears going down. He's like, you should have gone back for him.
Yeah.
You should have taken it. It's so hard hitting, but. Not only that, but then also the scene with Killmonger's dad, where he's like, we need to go, we need to be what we couldn't be. We need to be better and stronger, and we need to get our revenge. And he's like, you're right. Like it's a story, like you were saying, like how much of the father's sins are on you,
Yeah.
and how much do you have to correct, and it's great. Any of my negatives I'm trying to think of, again, it's just a couple of small. We know we talked about yours a little bit here, but
Yeah, which
I
was
know
glad to hear.
mine. A couple CGI moments is it, but not
Sure.
bad. I really enjoyed the movie from start to finish. I want to see it again. I want to go see it on an IMAX, biggest screen possible. That's what
I kept saying over the weekend, like, I'm gonna go see it again, and then I just got super lazy and just didn't.
Yeah, you
leave
didn't
the
do
house
anything.
ever. Did
You
not
were home
leave the
alone
house
all day
ever.
today.
Oh yeah,
Like you could have gone twice.
Yeah, I
you could have gone
could've.
like 4 times today.
just did not do it. Just did not. I feel bad for not doing it, but I just was so comfy, just doing nothing. It was
Sure.
fantastic.
It will be seen again. It's
Yeah,
one of my
for
top 5
Marvel
Marvel
movies.
movies. Like it's up there,
Yeah.
top 3 probably. Like it's
Yeah.
this movie is so good. I love it. I cannot wait to see him. It's like now I rewatched the. I hadn't seen it since, but I rewatched the Avengers: Infinity War trailer this morning.
Oh, okay, yeah.
While I was getting ready and stuff, and I just wanted, and like you can see now all these characters you didn't know in the background, and even like in that big like scene where they're all going to attack, you can see now that we know the layout of Wakanda really well. There are shots that I just thought was Iron Man somewhere in a park, and no, he's in Wakanda. Like, so they're
yeah.
moving around, man. Like it makes me so hyped to see this movie because he's such a great character, and to see like I want to see his sister talk with Tony and Rocket Raccoon. I want like a 3-way tech nerd conversation.
Yeah.
And like Tony's like, I can build this, and Rocket's like, well, I'm gonna steal that and then build something else. She's like, no, I got this.
She's like, I already made it.
How about we talk a little bit since we talked a lot about the positives, guys. This movie's great. If we missed anything, odds are we hit it in the non-spoiler review. Just didn't go into deep depth, but
Or we just forgot.
let's. I want to talk about a couple of these end credit scenes because it's been. I know
Oh, yeah.
you poo-pooed it a little bit when we first got to the movie, but I don't know if you talked about it in the spoiler review. And a lot of people online think that the first end credit scene should have been the end of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I completely disagree.
Oh, well, bummer.
And the reason I completely disagree is I think it takes away from what the movie really was. The movie was a personal tale about these sins and these corrections that these men are making. It was a family story.
Okay.
The second end credit scene is all about the world. It's all about the world. I like that it ends with him looking at this kid reminiscent of Killmonger and saying, we got you. We're not going to leave you again.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that.
Okay.
And he's saying he's telling the people that matter 1st about them coming out to the world. He's telling these kids that that are representative of everything that has just happened. And he's like, we're here for you. And it's personal with him and his sister talking about how they're the last two of their family. Like they're going to be the ones to change everything.
Yeah.
And then it goes into that scene where he smirks at the kid, and then he smirks again at the end, and it's a little bit Tony Stark at the end of Iron Man when he's like, I am Iron Man. And I like that it ended that way because I liked seeing how personal it was and that the movie. Because I always try to take the end credit scenes out of it, the movie should still be good. And I think the ending is perfect like that, with that ending.
Okay.
And I think it takes away a little bit if you end with him to the whole world being like, we're here and pretty dang powerful. Like, I like that it didn't matter. What mattered first was the actual people, not these politicians who wouldn't believe them. But I like that scene too, because even the one guy's like, how's a third world country going to help us? And he just
And
smirks
everyone in the
camera
audience
shows.
like, oh, you'll
Ah!
find it. Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, you make a good point. I did not think of it that way. So
How do you think about it now? Did she sway you a little bit?
Swayed me a little bit. Yeah, I'll have to think about that.
And you said no, I was ready to smack you with a pillow. I was gonna.
Why not? No, I mean what you're saying does make sense. So I'll have to ponder on that idea. But I don't know. For me, since the story with the hero and the villain was all about trying to reach out into the world, or deciding to reach out into the world, and how to show how powerful they are, whether it's by domination or by just being peaceful about it, but by introducing themselves. I thought that by showing up at that building surrounded by all these different politicians would have kind of tied that into the story a little bit better if it was at the end, and then that way we could also get another end credit scene.
Yeah, I was I was waiting for
Yeah,
that. As you
yeah.
were talking, I was like, this son of a gun is gonna say like, I mean, I just wish it would have been Captain Marvel or Avengers or even
mean,
Howard the Duck. But
I'm not ashamed.
you're just
I'm
mad
not
that
ashamed.
it was not what you wanted.
No, I mean.
Well,
that,
now I have another
part
question
of it
for you.
is that, but also
A bigger part is that I want it to be Captain Marvel. So I got a question though. So the way
Yeah.
you worded that is you said you felt the story was about coming at like the battles about the ideology of the world. And I think it's not that big. I think the whole movie is about two guys. I think that's a subplot in the main plot,
Yeah,
which
sure.
is about two guys fighting. So that's why I like the first one, because that kept it with about them.
Yeah.
Them, the two of them.
Yeah.
And so you disagree with what you're saying? Because you said you thought it was a whole world.
Well,
I
I
think that's. I don't
just
think
thought-
that. I think that's a subplot.
I just thought that since that was the
For
kind of the
sub-story.
plot device of the story going through and it's how these characters are progressing throughout the whole film, that it just made sense to end it with something like that. But no,
Sure.
but you're saying what you're saying, it does make sense. I will have to think about that more. Maybe my mind will change. So
Second end credit scene, then we'll wrap it up.
yeah,
I liked it. It gets Bucky out of the way for me. So it's
Yeah.
saying we got 500 characters to deal with in Avengers. Let's get one of them out in Black Panther.
yeah.
So now Bucky's taken care of. But she says at the end, like, oh, you're not done yet, or has a line like, we got some stuff to do. And that's because that arm, he's going to get a sick new arm.
Oh yeah.
Like, they fixed his memories.
She's
He's
like,
completely
oh,
normal.
we're gonna have fun
Yeah,
with
especially
this.
after they took Claw's arm, and there are lines where they're like, where's this? I've never seen technology like this.
Yeah.
Oh, and he has the metal arm in the trailer.
Vibranium is a heck of a thing, guys.
So, yeah, because his arm's not made out of vibranium. The first arm.
I don't believe so. No.
No,
It was
but
made
now
by
he's
Russians,
getting
so,
one.
Yeah.
Now
so-
he's gonna get a sick arm.
He thought he was powerful before. He might be even more powerful now. And I like that. I think some people were kind of like, I didn't really get it. What I got out of it was that she is trying to reteach him how to be an actual person and not just a weapon. Because in Winter Soldier and Civil War, we see that he
She
has all
cleaned
these.
his memories.
Yeah, exactly like that was her job to do, and just getting rid of all those Q words or whatever they are, code
Yeah,
words, so that way he attacks and this and that. So she's trying to pretty much reboot his mind in order for him to become a
She
new
did.
person. Maybe a new Captain America, maybe after.
Well, Cap's
Infinity
dead, so
War.
yeah, somebody's gonna be the new Cap.
Yeah. I mean,
I
who
think
knows,
Chitala's
but
going to end up being the new Iron Man. I know one of
Yeah.
our friends asked us that at the end. I agree. I think it's
That
going
could
to
be
be.
it, yeah.
I think he's going to kind of be the new. Like, I'm in charge of the Avengers, and Bucky's going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Falcon's gonna be
Spider-Man's
like,
gonna
what happened?
Spider-Man's gonna be like, okay.
Spider-Man's like, Tony's dead.
I don't
What
think
am
many
gonna
people
do?
will have a problem. They'll be like, oh yeah, sure, you can do it. Why not?
I think 3 main Avengers are biting it. I'm gonna go Iron Man, Captain America, and Hawkeye.
Yeah, those are good.
Well, maybe
choices.
I think Iron Man might end up living to the second one, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
Did your rating change at all?
Nah, why would it?
Mine did nearly 9.5.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember asking you when they say White Wolf, White
I
Wolf.
figured that out.
Yeah, I also figured it out because
Oh, good.
this guy, I get out and I'm like, Kyle, is that like a Marvel character? Is that something cool? Like, is this a character I don't know about? Kyle's, I have no idea. I doubt it. Nope. And then
Well,
I went and watched one spoiler review, and they're like, White Wolf's like could be a tease. This interesting character. I looked up that character and I was like, I don't even remember his name, but it was.
I
was
can't
like,
remember
yes.
his name
I was
either.
like, that's kind of cool. That'd be a
Yeah.
cool little nod, or if he just kind of takes the name, and we don't even know if they'll keep it, but. Like it's an interesting new, instead of being the Winter Soldier, he's now the White Wolf. Or
Marvel is
something.
always good at throwing in
Teases.
fan-made nuggets and then probably not even doing anything with them. Who knows? I mean,
Oh,
there's
they're
like
too good at fan
there's
service.
200,000 plans that they have on a bulletin board. You know,
You say that, and then it's like it's all for up to Avengers 4, and then you look at the board for after Avengers
White
4,
Wolf.
and it just says just says Black Widow solo movie question mark. Like that's the only thing on the board, and they're like, huh, is Kevin Feige gonna leave us? Question mark. Huh. Who takes over?
Question mark. Oh God, that's a scary thought. Let's
So-
hope that's not real.
I mean, if he leaves, I'm gonna be incredibly bummed. But that package deal when this finally ends and they reboot the Marvel universe, like all the movies in one like $300 bundle you can get with like documentaries,
Yeah.
I'm buying.
Oh, yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like a 50,000
Yeah.
box set or whatever. Would it just be a square, like just
Oh,
a
yeah.
giant?
Just the
square?
biggest square you could find.
Yeah, let's get the biggest.
Shows up in
square.
like a drone.
They don't even call it a box; they just call it a square.
They deliver it in an R2D2.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
Just to remind us that Star Wars is under their property
Star
as well.
Wars Episode 27 is coming out.
Yay. All right, guys, we stuck at 9.5. We got into some of the spoiler stuff about this movie.
Yeah.
I loved the ending. It sucks that he's dead, but I like it. I like that final line. I like
Yeah.
that he ended it really himself.
A lot of
I love
characters
that he's-
died that I did not want to be dead.
I even like that he's like, we could heal you. And he's
That
like, no, man. Like, I don't want to be in chains like my ancestors.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it.
There was a part of me that was like, I hope he becomes good in the sequel. And then he
You know
dies.
how cool it would be, though? Like, I thought that, too. Like, watching him, both Black Panther and Killmonger
Yeah.
in that purple and gold suit fighting together in
Yeah.
Avengers Infinity War, that would have been incredible.
That would have been sweet.
Michael B.
That would've
Jordan's
been
like,
sweet.
all right, I was gonna be the Human Torch, but then that movie stunk. So now I'll be this villain. Marvel knows how to keep villains. They don't kill anyone, they kill him. And he's like, I'm the first one you finally murder for good. And there's just Quicksilver and Aaron Taylor Johnson's like,
They're
come
just
join
like-
the club.
they're
It's just him.
They're sitting by an old dial telephone. They're just like, any day now, we're gonna come back, guys.
We'll come back. All right, guys, comment below. Let us know what you thought of the spoiler review. Like, subscribe, share, all that amazing stuff. And as always, Mom, thanks for watching.
See you guys.